Welcome to the Small Town Big Dreams podcast. My name is Becky Waples, and this is the podcast that celebrates small town creators and shares their stories. A creator to me could be an entrepreneur, someone with a side hustle, a person with a passion project, even a social media guru, or anybody else who has taken their goal and is crushing it. From their background to where they found the courage, from their challenges to their wins, to where they find inspiration and how they took their first step, I cannot wait to chat and laugh about anything and everything that comes with creating something from scratch. If you are inspired by small town creators who turn their big dreams into reality, then this is the podcast for you. Please subscribe to hear all upcoming podcasts, follow me on Instagram, and leave a review or comment so I know what you want to hear and what creators inspire you. Let's grow together. Hey, it's Becky. This week's episode is with Tamara from the Clinic Club. At the end of this episode, she gives all my listeners a really cool offer. If you screenshot your phone listening to this episode and then share it on social media and tag me at Small Towns Big Dreams Podcast and her at T-Bull Cleans, then she will reach out and send you a copy of her Balance It digital planner. I just wanted to give that heads up now before the end. And thank you guys all for listening. On to the show. Okay, so thank you, Tamara, for joining me tonight.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. When I started the little podcast journey, I think you started exactly the same time.
Oh, really?
I think my first was like September, well, maybe it was October 1st.
Okay, yeah, that's when my first one was released as well. Yeah, or like that week, I think. Yeah,
because I remember going for a walk and listening to yours and being like, this is so cool that we just did it around the same time.
Yeah, that is cool. I didn't know that. That's awesome. I love your podcast.
Well, thank you. Your introduction, I must have already posted my introduction or was about to, and I listened to yours and I was like, oh, yours is so much better.
40 takes later. Yeah.
Oh, mine was like 3 takes. And I was like, I think you mentioned that. Like, I've already recorded this so many times. I was like, that was my downfall.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I could have just let it go, but I was like, no, I got it. The first one, I just got to be the best. So,
well, you need to know that I, as a brand new podcaster myself, I listened to it and was like, that's the secret. Because you did episodes and then re-recorded it, right?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, I recorded the whole thing and like was ready to go. And then I listened to it and I'm like, no, there's more different things I needed to say. And because I had recorded after that point, I felt a little more comfortable in the zone of it. So I was like, okay, let's just scratch that and we'll just start over. And it was like 2 days before it was being released. And so I just started over.
From a fellow podcaster, I can appreciate that it was very good. Your very first one was good and it got me excited for the rest of them coming up.
Thank you.
I also wanted to mention that I had been following you for a while before you started your podcast because I think, are you from Wyerton?
Yep. Born and raised.
I'm from Lion's Head. And then my sister is from Wyerton, or she lives there now.
Okay.
And then my husband went to that high school.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay.
Oh, and I was going to say, who was the teacher that you interviewed?
Brenda Foster. She used to go by Madame Long when we were in school.
My dad was also a French teacher. So they knew each other from schools. I've mentioned to my husband that I listened to your podcast with Madame Long, and he had taken that class. I think I mentioned that to you, that he had taken that class. And I was like, yeah, it's a small world.
Yeah.
That was a cool episode too. I really liked that one on journaling.
Yeah, she and Wanda are like my favorite people. So I was like, I'm excited to have both of them on.
Well, very cool. Oh yeah, because I was mentioning before we started recording that the podcast I listened to today with Wanda was such a cool one too.
Yeah, they're cool people. Yeah. I know I got a few good people under my belt. So
we can talk about that in a bit. So let's start with, what do you do?
What do I do? Well, I run a cleaning business. I specialize in deep cleaning for residential homes. I have been doing that since 2021 when my maternity leave was up, and I did not want to go back to, I was a hairdresser for 9 years to that. And I had to leave that because of COVID. It shut us down. And so I was 6 months pregnant when COVID hit. And I was kind of like, yes, this is my opportunity to escape because it wasn't, and it wasn't anything about the place or the people. It was just not a career I loved. And then, maternity leave went on, and then it was time to go back to work all of a sudden. And I was like, oh crap, now I gotta either do something else or go back there. So I didn't have full-time childcare. So that sort of helped make the decision that I can't go back to a job that was really demanding hours. Even though flexible hours were offered, I knew it still wasn't going to be as flexible as I needed. So I did hair for a little while on my own, but it just didn't feel right. I didn't love it. And I just knew that part of my life was over. And so I took on a couple cleaning clients to kind of fill the gaps that I had in the schedules when I was doing hair. And I loved it. It's so strange to me that I just love cleaning. I love making things look new again and helping people. That was the biggest thing, is I felt always that I was needed and appreciated for coming in and helping these people out. So I ended up leaving the hair world altogether, sort of on a whim. Like one weekend, I was just like, yeah, I'm just going to do this now. So I finished up like my last appointments that I had, and I just sort of said, like, I'm going to do something else for a while. And so I started doing that, and I grew very quickly, and my books filled up really fast. And now I am 2 years in, and I am booking a year and a half out. So
that's wild, because I saw on your Instagram you said join the waitlist for like a year and a half out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I've been booked for the rest of 2023. I was fully booked about 6 months ago. And then I just started to make the schedule for 2024. And I was like, all the appointments are gone. All my reoccurring clients re-upped with me for next year. And yeah, there's not a day.
That's wild.
Which is kind of like, it's great, but it's also like, okay, I can never get sick. So
do you have a team? I feel like I saw you post a now hiring.
Yes. Well, funny story. I had a hiring spree, I like to call it, starting in I think it was the early spring of 2023. And I took on my first employee who was going to take on some biweekly clients that I had on a wait list for a really long time. And it didn't go very well. She ended up leaving after a couple weeks. And then I decided to give it another go and hire somebody else to take her place. And I ended up hiring 2 people who would work together as a team to take on the biweekly clients. I thought that was going to go really well because they could support each other and get it done faster. And they ended up leaving as well. So I decided after that point that maybe and you know what, it really is a blessing in disguise, because I thought it was so stressful to have employees, and I just wasn't in that space. So I'm not going to say I'll never have employees again, but if I get to that point, I would like to have somebody else supporting me in supporting them, because or I'm going to have to learn how to do it better, because I just felt every morning I woke up, I was like biting my nails, like, what's going to go wrong today? So yeah, it was hard. So I just pivoted and just kept going on my own.
Yeah, I asked somebody else, and it wasn't with the podcast. I said, and she's mentioned that she had to hire someone else as well. And then she said that relying on other people to do your job can be very stressful.
Nobody is ever going to care about your business as much as you are. So when you have somebody else coming in that is working on their own, and when it comes to going into other people's homes as well, that's really stressful, because that's your ass on the line. Like, they have to do a good job. They have to not break things. They have to represent your company really well. And if they don't love it, then it's not going to work. And it's hard to find people that love to scrub toilets. It's not glamorous. So
yeah. Not me, but that is true. But you do other things. You don't just do cleaning. You also have your own podcast. And you also are starting a digital course.
I am. Yeah. So the digital course was a decision that I made after all the hiring spree didn't go well. So I knew like I felt so bad leaving those clients just high and dry without any support. And the rest of the wait list of people that I could never get to, I really wanted to support them in some way. And so since I couldn't support them with a team coming in to actually do the work for them, I was brainstorming what can I do to give them something and that I can do on my own. And I thought, okay, a digital course makes sense. Maybe I'll do a course about how to clean things, how I do that. And I thought, you know what, that's really not, people know how to clean.
Yeah.
And the problem is most of the
right.
well, that most people I think know how, like generally know how to clean.
Yeah.
But I think the bigger problem with the clients that I had was that they didn't know how to find the time to do it. And so that's where the digital course started to take place, was teaching people how to manage their time so that they could get those things done. But more so, I didn't want people just focusing on getting those tasks done, because that's how you get burnt out. So the digital course, it's called the Balance and Method program. So it's teaching you how to balance your time and your energy so that you're not wearing yourself too thin. You can get the tasks done by prioritizing things properly so that you're honoring your own energy, getting the stuff done, but also taking care of yourself and not losing time with your family.
I totally resonate with what you say with that, because I remember I was listening to something and it said like, prioritize what's important for you and then outsource what's not. And so I said to my husband, I can't clean the house, and the house being messy is a huge stressor for me.
Yeah.
So we hired a cleaning lady because I can work better and I can be a better mom and he can be a better dad when like we're not stressed about cleaning the baseboards, cleaning the toilet, making sure the bathtub is all clean. And so you took that theory and you really put it into even like because I've read your Balance It, what you've kind of got started, right? I read it today. And you're really taking, like pick your priorities.
Yep.
And then if it's not a priority, figure out a different way to do it.
Yeah. And more importantly than that too, it's really making sure that your priorities are your priorities, like setting the vision of what you want it to look like. Because if it's not your vision, then your priorities are somebody else's, right? So if you're prioritizing getting the housework done because you think that everybody thinks that you should be able to get all that done, that's not your priority, that's theirs. So that's a big part that's missing from a lot of information that's out there, is that everybody else is telling you to manage your time by setting priorities, but they're not really helping you define what those priorities should be for yourself, for your own vision of your life.
The light bulb just went off because I don't prioritize cleaning. I don't but I really like hosting people at my house. So I'll say to my husband, who should we invite over this weekend? Because the second I invite somebody over, then my priority becomes cleaning my house, because I like hosting and I want to host in a clean environment.
Right.
And so my priority is hosting. And because of that, my house becomes clean. Let's do it. Let's clean all this up.
Whatever works.
Yeah, true. So when you were a hairdresser, did you work for yourself too?
After I'd left, I worked in a big salon in Owen Sound first, and for 9 years. And then when COVID hit, we were shut down. And then when I couldn't go back to that job after my mat leave was over, I did hair for a little while on my own.
So have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur?
I think so. It's hard to answer that, because I never was yeah, I'm just going to own my own business someday. That was never a thing, but I always had something going on where I was like, oh, that's a business, I'll just do that. When I was even in 7th grade, I sold friendship bracelets on the playground. And then when we were, I think it was 8th grade, me and my girlfriends started dressing up as the Spice Girls and performing at children's birthday parties as the Spice Girls. That was my idea. Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's hilarious. That's actually really smart.
Yeah, I just always had like, oh, that's a business. We can just do that. Or I can just do that. That's always been something that I've been good at. I haven't always been good at running a business. That's something I've definitely, my skills have grown in that department for sure. But yeah, I used to also do wedding photography.
Yeah.
Had a wedding photography business for a few years. And I was the worst person to run a business at that time. I was charging like $200 for a full day of wedding photography by myself. I had no like team. I was there from like the beginning of the day where they're all getting dressed to like the very end of the night. I'm like,
And all that editing.
too.
Yeah. I just say they got a good deal.
They got a really good deal.
Yeah.
Definitely undervalued myself for sure.
But it definitely sounds like you were motivated to start your own business. Even hairdressing, I feel like lots of hairdressers do that themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say too, just from an outside view, a lot of people start their own cleaning businesses, but you were like making a brand and making a name for yourself almost immediately. And that's from an outside view. So I don't know how long you were doing it before I saw you on social media, but I feel like I saw you pretty quickly.
No, it happened fast. I got some marketing information from somebody who had grown a brand, and they had used influencer marketing. So they had reached out to somebody that was an influencer on Instagram and made a connection with them and started growing in that way. And so I thought, I could do that. Why can't I do that? So an influencer doesn't do anything when you're a local small business. So I looked up a few local businesses that had larger followings on their Instagram. So I found one. I'm going to give her a shout out, Lace and Lilac, Kara. She, I don't even know what you call it. She like styles your events. So she like a lot of weddings. She'll style it. Quite a few followers on her Instagram. I noticed that her followers were a lot of local people. And so I reached out to her and I said, hey, I know you don't know me. I just started this cleaning business. Would you be interested in having me come and do a free service for you? I'll come in and do a free deep clean of your home in exchange for you promoting me on your Instagram. And of course, she was like, yes, please, right now. And before I even got to her appointment, she started promoting me on her Instagram, and I had some appointments booked even before I'd done anything. And then once the service was complete, I had people messaging me left, right, and center, just wanting me to come in. And then everybody that had me in once wanted me to come back. So yeah, it happened fast.
And it must have worked because I do remember hearing about you almost immediately. And then I also saw that you you still do your partnership with Heat and Eat?
I do. I haven't had a lot of takers on it. I think there's quite a few people in the On Sound area that don't know who they are. But yeah, if anybody is listening in the On Sound area, Heat and Eat is a gourmet-inspired frozen meal business out of Shallow Lake. So you can pop in there and grab like a frozen meal that was made by a chef, and it has just the instructions of how to heat it up on the front, and whether it's like to pop it in the microwave or the oven or whatever it is. And then you've got a full meal made. So I decided to partner up with them, to collab with them and do offer a clean and eat service. So you get your deep clean, and then you can add on a meal from Heat and Eat as well.
So two things. I used to work in Shallow Lake, so we go to Heat and Eat all the time.
Yeah,
and when I would read,
yeah, so if you're driving through, you can grab like a pizza and stuff. Yeah.
And they're so good. And when we would do catering at work, I was always in charge, and I would always ask them because their food was just so delicious. And then what a great idea to take the cleaning off my plate already. And then also,
you don't have to clean your kitchen after dinner. Yeah,
that's
gotta make dinner. Yeah.
I grew up with a house cleaner. And so it was always Thursdays. And the best part was coming home on Thursdays and like you opened the door and the smell of a clean house, right? And actually, I remember talking to a cleaning lady and she was like, well, tell me specifically what you want me to do. And I was like, I want to open my door when I get home and I want to be able to smell a clean house. So like just in this area of the door, as long as you spray a little bit of cleaner, just in this area of the door, I'm good. Yeah. That's what I want. But then Yeah. But then, so I would get the smell of the clean house and the relief of knowing that dinner is already taken care of as well.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah. I thought it was absolutely brilliant, but yes, there hasn't been a huge take on it, and I think it's just because of the lack of knowledge of the business in Shallow Lake.
right.
I think that Shallow Lake and north of Shallow Lake are like well aware of heat and eat because you're driving through there to go to Owen Sound, but not a lot of people from Owen Sound drive that direction. So
Hmm.
yeah, it gets missed. So I think maybe people are listening though.
I got to reach out to them.
Yes, you do. They're cool people.
They're very cool people, and their food is so good. It's very good.
So good.
Oh, have you faced any challenges since you started?
Um,
Have you faced?
how much time you got? Yes, I have. When you start your own business, you think, oh, it's flexible hours. I won't have, I can control my time. Yeah, that's a big fat lie. Having your own business is just it consuming. So it has been at the beginning, it was a big challenge to try and figure out how to do everything in the business that needed to be done and everything in my house and everything in my life and all of that. And I definitely for the first like 6 months had no clue what I was doing. Um, every day I would get home, I'd have laundry to do because I'd have dirty towels from cleaning. I would have laundry to do because I had a house to run. I would have dinner to make. I would have dishes to clean up. I'd have invoices to send. I had a kid hanging off of me all the time. Like it was a lot. So that was a huge challenge for me to get through. And of course, like the hiring not going well and just hiccups along the way that happen. But I think like I learned pretty quickly that I have to kind of separate myself from all of that within the business and just sort of look at the things that aren't working and not have some like emotional connection to them. Like, oh, that's not working. That's okay. How can I pivot that? Or, if something happened within a job, there's been a few things at the jobs that haven't gone as planned where either the house was too big and I couldn't finish it within the time period, or um, if something I couldn't clean it the way that I was hoping I would be able to clean it. Sometimes it goes that way. And if I ever feel like the homeowner might be upset about that, I just sort of have to take myself out of it and be like, okay, what can I take from this to learn to pivot and go forward and just not have any emotional connection. Because if I had that emotional connection, it would take me out. Like I just wouldn't be able to continue. So yeah, the business is itself and I'm myself and I work with it.
And what is your philosophy on cleaning? Or what's your philosophy on cleaning and life?
Hmm. That's a tough question. I don't know if I really have like a concise philosophy to give you, but I can tell you what I believe to be the most important thing. So, again, with the vision, like it's really important to have a clear vision of what you want your life to look like. And that covers all the bases, whether it's cleaning, whether it's business, whether it's life. Because if you don't have that clear vision, then you're just sort of, like I said, living somebody else's vision, or you're just going through the motions day to day and everything's chaotic. You don't have any goals or motivation to make any changes. You're living Groundhog's Day over and over and over.
Yeah.
Right? And so when you have that clear vision, like for myself, I have a clear vision of I want to come into my home at the end of the day and I want to feel at ease in my space. And I want to have systems in place that support me and that make my life feel comfortable and easy. And that's my goal for my home. And then I create schedules for cleaning so that I can work towards that vision. So if you don't have that vision, you can't take those, I call them inspired action steps towards the goal.
I really like what you said there. I think that's true when you said about the Groundhog Day. I feel like I was living a bit of a Groundhog Day. Yeah, like I said, well, what do you want to do in 5 years? And it's easy to decide what you want to do in 5 years.
Yeah.
But like you said, come up with a vision, like write it down, come up with a vision.
Yeah. And I think that a lot of people get stuck there, or they know that that's important, but they don't know how to do that. And to that end, I actually am hosting a free workshop that will be live at the end of December, where it'll be a 3-day workshop where we're going to create vision boards together. So day 1 will be getting clear on your vision. Day 2 will be creating the vision board. And day 3 will be learning how to activate that vision. So creating those goals and creating those inspired, actionable steps. So if anybody wants to get in on that, I'll send you over the link to join up to that. And yeah, it'll be December 28th, 29th, and 30th.
That's exciting. Yeah, I'll put that in the show notes and I'll sign up as well. I don't know if this like makes a lot of sense, but it feels like it makes a lot of sense in my brain. Like, and I'm like a food person. So at lunchtime, I'm like figuring out what am I going to have for dinner, and I can picture it on my plate. And then I start picturing, oh, well, I'm going to have to go to the grocery store to buy this. Is this pan clean or dirty? Do I have this in the fridge already, or do I need to buy it? And I start like envisioning how to make that dish.
Yeah.
And so that's what I picture, like my 5-year plan. So I can see where I want to be, but you can't just see where you want to be. Then you have to start envisioning the steps you have to take, and the people you have to talk to, and the mentors you're going to need, and the resources so that you can get there.
That's right. You can't just have a picture. Like, you can't just make a vision board and be like, that's what's going to happen. Like, and then do nothing, go back to bed. Like, that's not a thing. You have to actually do something to do it. I saw a meme lately going around Instagram that's like, I manifested, but I also did the effing work.
Like, exactly. When I was like Groundhog Day, I was just like, well, I picture my life in Mexico next year. I'll just get there. And then I realized, no, that's not how that works. You also have to picture yourself making the money to pay for the trip, and then booking the trip, and then making sure you have your passports and everything. And so then when I kind of made the mini visions to the big vision, it kind of all started to make sense. I'm really happy right now because I feel like things are in place to go where I want to go, right?
Good.
Yeah. And so when you talk to that, I'm like, yes, I think like it sounds easy, but until you actually take the steps to do it, like this workshop you just mentioned, yeah, it's just going to be, like you said, like manifesting doesn't always work unless you do the
work. Gotta do the work. Exactly. Yeah, you can't. A lot of people get that wrong, where they think that, oh, I'm just gonna wait until I win the lottery. I'm gonna be rich someday, or like, you say all those things, or you have those visions of living in a big, beautiful mansion and having all the clothes and the whatever isn't on your want list. But just wanting it and having that vision in your mind is not going to make it happen. You have to do something about it.
And then I'm going on another little tangent, but as a mom as well, I'm just ready. Like, my children say to me, I need a snack. And then like 2 seconds later, I've put a little snack in their hand. And I was like, what am I teaching them? I'm teaching them that they just have to make a vision and then they get it. But then they are going to grow up and be like, well, yeah, I just have to say something and it'll come. Because as a mother, that is what I'm teaching them, right?
Yeah. I mean, don't be hard on yourself. We all do it.
But I was like, maybe it's my identity now is like to help small businesses learn about entrepreneurship. So I was like, okay, boys, we're going to start a little business. We're going to do something that if you want to buy something, you're going to have to make your own little money. And they're only 3 and 5. But this is like our new goal is to, my goal now is to teach my boys to kind of create their own, like become their own creators.
Yeah.
Because they're going to honestly think you can just say it out loud and it shows up in their hands.
And it shows up. Yeah.
I was even like, they could be like, you know what? I just feel like I'm going to have a yogurt drink. I'm like, oh, a yogurt drink? Of course, boys. Let me go grab that for you.
Yeah. Oh, what color do you want? Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Then they're like, no, not strawberry. I'm like, oh my gosh, my apologies. I'll put that on the grocery list. Next time, absolutely no strawberries.
Yeah.
Berkey's Turkeys has started their 2023 Christmas campaign. Their mission is to take the financial burden of a Christmas dinner off of a few Bruce County's families' plates this year. These are families who may need a little extra help this Christmas. Berkey's Turkeys wants these families to focus on the fun parts of Christmas and not worry about putting a meal on the table as well. Last year, they fed 17 local families with a full turkey and ham dinner, along with all the fixings and desserts. This year, their goal is to help 20 families and raise a total of $2,000. Any donation helps. You can find them on Facebook, Berkey's Turkeys, or contact Eric Burke to donate. You can also message me at Small Towns Big Dreams Podcast on Instagram or Facebook, and I can also put you in contact. Gobble, gobble. So let's talk a little bit about your podcast. What's the vision behind your podcast? Because it's not cleaning. I think your vision is very cool for your podcast.
Thank you. It again, it was something that I was seeing in the work that I was doing. And it was another way that I wanted to serve the community. And when I would go into people's homes, the first thing that a lot of people would say is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's such a mess. I'm sorry. There's dishes in the sink. I'm sorry. Everything's been crazy this week. And I'm like, you're paying me to be here. Like, what do you think? Of course it's messy. I'm not expecting it not to be. And then I realized, like, they're judging themselves because they're not able to do these things that we were all told that we're supposed to be able to do everything. And it's just not a reality. And they're afraid that I'm going to judge them because they think that maybe I have it all together. I'm pretty sure and clear that I don't, and I think that the main part of the podcast for me was when I saw people in that space and in that zone of feeling guilty and unsure of themselves. I felt like I could identify with that, because when you become a mom and you take on all the weight of the responsibilities, it can really diminish you as a person, and who you were before you had kids it can go away. Like, that is gone, really. Like, you had a baby, that's a new person, but you're not the person you were the day before that baby was born. Like, full stop. You're just not. And it takes a while to feel like you're in your own skin again. And I wanted the podcast to talk directly to those women feeling that, because I was there, still am there sometimes. And I wanted to open a conversation about it and help people to realize that they can move through that season, and they don't have to be all about giving and giving and giving and giving and doing and doing and doing it, that they needed to take the time to be who they were meant to be as well. And then in turn, that makes them a better mom when they come back.
Yes, I do think that I have become a better mom now that I'm doing all this self-care.
Mm-hmm.
And my youngest is the happiest he's ever been with me being at home.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, the way that you say that kind of makes me emotional, but I like that. I like your theory for your podcast for sure. And I don't think I've mentioned it yet. You interviewed Wanda today.
Mm-hmm.
Said something really cool that I thought when I was listening to was, you said, so you would invest money in your son's soccer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no questions asked. Like, of course my son's going to play soccer. He needs to get out there and do something. And then someone would be like, you should invest in this in yourself. And you're like, I don't want to spend the money on that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, she said something about spend the money on your creative juices.
Yeah.
And I'm butchering it. Just my listeners will have to listen to that podcast, because she was like, invest in yourself, basically, for anything that you want to do creatively.
Yep.
And then you made a good point, because it's true, right? Like, when your children, like my children might not even like soccer, but you're like, you got to get them out. You got to get them socialized.
Yeah.
How do you know if you don't try it?
Or if they want something, if they want anything, we're just like, oh, okay, I'll get that for you. Like you said, like the yogurt, like, well, I'll just get it for you. Like, I'll find the way to pay for the thing that you want. But am I going to find the way to pay for the things that I want? Probably not, because I'm on the back burner, Right.
My children are going to like soccer, but if they don't try it, how would we know?
Yeah.
My kids are going to like gymnastics, but if I don't give them the opportunity to try it, how are we going to know? And that stuff isn't cheap. Like gymnastics, well, I'm just ballparking because my kids are in gymnastics for like $400.
Yeah.
And so I would drop that on my children so that they could find out if they liked that.
For sure.
And if I wanted to start a new hobby, like painting, I feel like, oh, then it's gonna cost this much for the canvas and this much for the paint and this much for the easel, and it's very
$400 on that.
And it's very easy to talk myself out of that. And when you said that, I was like, you're right. It is wild that I'm so quick to invest in my children, but not invest in myself. I can easily find the excuse as to why I shouldn't spend that money.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all do that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on. Oh, about living in a small town. How does living in a small town contribute to your business?
Oh man, this community, I tell you, there is something special going on here. The greatest community, I think it's a pretty rare thing to have a community that is so friggin' supportive of small businesses. They get it. They get that people need the support, and they go out of their way to make it happen. And it's funny because I have a lot of people on my Instagram that have like side hustles and things like that. And they're clients of mine. And I was at a client's house who has a side hustle, and she was helping her aunt get started in her own side hustle. Yeah. And while I was there, she was doing interior design and interior decorating, I guess it was. And she was helping her out with redecorating her living room. And I was like, whoa, you're really good at this. This is like, you should have been doing this a long time ago. And I said to her, when you get things up and running, let me know, because I'll give you a shout out on my Instagram. And she was like, what? Really? That would be amazing. Oh my God, I never thought of that. And her niece and I looked at each other and we were like, that's what we do. That's how we do it. And that is, I would be absolutely nothing if it were not for the people and the support that I've had in this community. So thank you all.
Have you found any challenges by living in a small town?
Other than we don't have a Costco. That's
yeah.
I like to get my supplies in bulk, and it would be nice to have a Costco. Other than that, I have not found a challenge. No, it's challenging now that I'm sort of entering the digital world and my audience is expanding outside of the community. It's harder now to break through the noise that's out there. But this community here, for what I needed them for, they have been here. It's an amazing community.
So let's talk about like business advice, because you mentioned that you have had what did you say, that you're not a very good businesswoman, or you have been?
I haven't been in the past. I haven't been a very good businesswoman in the past. I definitely honed my skills in that department. In some departments, I could use somebody to do my finance and stuff. Yeah. I need a little, I think that everybody has like their strong suits. I'm really good at coming up with ideas and like going for stuff. I'm not good at a lot of the back end stuff. I need somebody to come in and help me with that, because the like invoices and all of that, I forget to send sometimes. And it happens.
That's what other small businesses are for.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was going to ask, like, what do you think your strategy has been to make you a better businesswoman?
Yeah, I think just like finding somebody that's one step ahead of you, or 2 or 3 steps ahead of you on the journey, and really like getting in their world and asking them questions and asking them for support, and just putting the offer out there that you need help in some area. I think that's really been the most helpful thing that I've done. There was a point that I was debating whether I wanted to, things were going well with Clean It, and I thought, I could keep riding this wave, or, I could go and get a real job, air quotes.
Job. I call them corporate jobs.
Yeah, corporate jobs. Yeah. I was at that point where I wanted to make that decision. And when I decided to go all in with Clean It and really give it everything I've got, I reached out to my boss that I worked with at the hair salon for years. He built a business up from the ground and I wanted to know what he knew. So we went out for a coffee and I picked his brain for a good hour and a half and came away with a booklet full of information. And then I just started to implement, finding somebody that you can trust, that's ahead of you on the journey, and go to them and ask for support.
I like that, like a mentor or coach or.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to call him a mentor. If he listens to this, you're not my mentor.
So I was going to ask if you have any tips for inspiring creators like podcasters, a cleaning business, or a course creation, but that would be find someone that's doing something similar.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's my advice all around. If you need inspiration, if you need support, find somebody on that journey as well that's ahead of you, and then just do it. Because like people just, I Wanda said this today on my podcast, that thinking about doing something takes far more effort than actually doing the thing. So just go do it. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be messy. You're going to kind of be embarrassed when you look back at it years in a way, but that's good. That means you've gotten better. So there is no such thing as failure. There's just lessons to be learned. So that's how I look at it anyway.
Yeah. What do they say? Like, you can't be good at your 100th if you don't start your first.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody has their first day. Everybody has their starting. And it may look like some people, built their business overnight. You hear of all these people that made $1 million while they were sleeping. Well, you're not seeing the 10 years that they put into it before that. So it wasn't overnight. Nobody has an overnight success. It's not a thing.
I think I'm at the point in my journey, and maybe where I'm kind of like, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe my, maybe Small Towns, Big Dreams isn't my like 10-year podcast plan, but I bet it gets me to a plan. Like and it might be. I love this. I don't want it to end, but I keep thinking like, maybe this is going to create something that will be my next, my like big thing, right? Like if I didn't start this, I'm not ever going to get there to whatever that is.
Yeah. And if you're taking the steps in the direction of your vision that you have, and you're open to creative inspiration to come at you from all angles, you'll get there. You'll get to wherever it is that you're supposed to be, for sure.
Yeah. And that was another thing Wanda said, because she's an artist. You're talking about artistic creativity, but I took a lot away from it because I'm not an artist. I can't create anything, but I'm creating this, like I'm creating media. So I took a lot from that too.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do that episode with her, because it's not just about painting or drawing or whatever artistic thing we may think it is. Art is living, like you're living your art. So creating your life as if you're creating art, like that's just how it is.
Yeah. Well, I really resonated with me today. And I think it's your longest podcast too. So I was like, this is so much fun. I loved listening to it.
Thank you.
I have a new portion of the podcast, and it's called Questions from Listeners. And I put on my Instagram, questions from listeners. And I did get a couple. And I got one from Oracle Stitches. Yeah.
Oh God. Why is she gonna ask?
Well, I don't know. She might know the answers, and maybe that's why she was asking. But she said, what is the grossest thing you enjoy cleaning? Like, is there something that gives you satisfaction the dirtier it is?
That's a good question. I like a good, disgusting sink drain, or a drain of any kind. A clogged up old drain that I can actually clean. Yeah. Yeah.
I can see that being very satisfying. When you put the water in, it just goes straight down. Yeah. But I can't see me enjoying that very much.
No, I enjoy it. I love pulling those things out of people's drains.
Like the hair?
Oh, yeah. Love it.
Oh, God. That's funny. I also got another one from my sister, and it said, what is one place that should be cleaned more often that people often forget?
Oh, there's so many.
I need all these answers.
Oh, I've got like 3 big ones. Okay. So your fans or your air exchangers, 100% need, like, people avoid them like the plague all the time. And you can't, like, your air's not circulating if those are clogged up with dust. So clean those up.
The ones in your bathroom.
Yeah, the ones in the bathroom fan or airtight. of your house. They're definitely dusty. The dishwasher seal. So we all know, well, most of us know that you got to take the like drain thing out and clear it.
I do that. Yeah.
But the seal, so right along like the edge of the door or like where the hinge would be, that area is gross. It gets really caked up with old food, and that's going on your dishes. So yeah, it's dirty.
I feel like I've cleaned that before and been like, this.
Nobody does.
I think I must have had to clean it. Like, it was getting so gross. I was like, whoa, what is this gross thing?
Or even like if you open your dishwasher and then look at the cupboards along that are beside it, guaranteed there's like splatters of food all over them. Guaranteed. So, and then the third thing that's super gross, and I think that everybody is getting this now, is the front loading washing machines. Like,
I saw that.
Yeah, they're gross. You got to clean them. They stink if you don't leave like the door open on them. The water like pools and then it gets smelly. And then like there's like a trap thing that has to be emptied that I don't do anymore because I flooded somebody's basement once. So that was not a good day. That's not a good day. I still clean their house. They still have me back every month.
Yeah.
So the relationship is continued, but thank you for being nice to me.
So they know that that's never going to happen again. They're like, no, she knows.
Yeah. And then I was like, yeah, I'm never ever cleaning the trap thing in anybody's home ever again. So that's on you guys. So yeah, there's like a trap thing that has to come out. It's always clogged with stuff. And then there's like a tube thing that pulls out that you have to empty, and it's full of really smelly water.
Yeah, I don't have a front loader washing machine
either. I refuse to get one. But top loaders need to be cleaned too. So
my top loader is disgusting. That's not true. It was when we moved into this house, it was disgusting. And I remember I would like wipe it down, and then my husband actually took like probably an hour cleaning it. This was long enough that it needs to get done again. But I remember being like, thank you. That it was pretty gross.
Yeah.
Not my clothes.
So the top, like if you have an agitator and there's like a dispenser on the top where you put your detergent. First of all, don't put your detergent in there, people. Don't put it in there. It just clogs. But a lot of those come out, so you can clean those. And then like around the outside of the drum, you can't really clean by hand. So you can buy little packages and throw them in just with an empty load, and it'll clean the drum for you.
We've done that Fresh or something.
Yeah. All Fresh, I think there's one, and then there's a Tide one as well.
And then my best friend asked, do you have any stories of something super gross you've had to clean or find? They're all about gross, I guess. They're like, tell us, like, they're like, don't tell us the best parts about cleaning. They're like, tell us the worst parts.
The worst parts. I think that's kind of what my brand has been. Like, I'm going to show you the gross stuff. I'm not going to show you like the perfectly clean houses and like this sparkle and this. I'm going to show you the gross stuff because we all have it. Like,
but people follow. That's why you have the followers that were like, yeah, share that with us.
yeah. It's relatable, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what is the grossest thing I've ever cleaned? Other than like drains. Like drains are really gross. And honestly, I think it's my own drain was the grossest one. I had a clog in my bathtub, and it was like I pulled like the size of 3 mouses out.
Was it after you had your baby? Because the postpartum hair loss was aggressive.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, there were like 3 big long chunks of hair. I'm like, how did this even happen? Yeah, I was probably the grosser.
That's funny because I remember my husband being like, "There's way too much hair in this drain. I'm cleaning it all the time." I was like, "I don't want to be losing this hair. Too much hair is not in my head anymore. I don't want that."
Yeah.
It's not my fault. That's funny. Those were my questions from the listeners. And then usually I do like a rapid fire round or a fun round. And I thought for this part, because after your podcast, you always do like takeaways. Right? Like, so here's the 10 takeaways of what we learned this week or this hour in the podcast. I thought maybe we could do something kind of fun like that. And I was kind of writing stuff down because I put like number 1 takeaway, Gravers needs a Costco.
Gravers needs a Costco. Can we tag somebody in that?
Who do we have to talk to get a Costco in Wyerton?
Seriously.
I also wrote down, I'll call clean it if you need to clean dirty drains. We just talked about that, but yeah, put that one down.
Well, I mean, I don't actually have time to come and do it for you, but I can,
No, I know.
I can support you on your journey of cleaning your drain.
There you go. You need to make a little reel. Oh, I think I missed the question up there because I was going to ask you about your content creation because I find your Instagram really not only informative, but like entertaining. And I'm struggling with that right now. So do you have any tips for content creation?
Oh, content creation right now is sort of like, for me, it's been just like a creative process. Like, I just get an idea and then I go for a reel and then I go and do it. Like, there hasn't been really, like, I don't have a strategy or a plan of any kind. I'm working on that because I'm, trying to grow an online business now as well. So I have been trying to be more strategic. And again, the best advice that I have is reaching out to people that are ahead of you in your journey. So I recently was speaking with somebody that does social media management. Luckily, I got to speak with her off the books, which was nice. And so and so she gave me some tips to go forward, and not a full strategy, but a startup strategy. So that was helpful. But other than that, like, if you can just batch content, that's the only way to do it because it's time consuming if you don't do that.
I got distracted while you were talking because do you have a TikTok account?
I don't. I'm avoiding it.
No, I used to have one, and then like the day I deleted it, my life got significantly better because I had like time to do other things. But I was just thinking, you know how like people like pimple popping videos. A girl I used to work with used to watch videos on TikTok of people cleaning horseshoes. I have a business idea for you: cleaning drains. There has to be an audience out there that's like, what else did you find in there?
Yeah, you're right.
You find dirty Band-Aids in mine. Like there would be a Band-Aid stuck in that hair thing for sure.
Oh, yeah, there's got to be worse than that.
I just came up with a TikTok idea for you. There's got to be people that are like, that was awesome. I need to watch another one.
Yeah, I need to go viral with drain cleaning.
Well, Dr. Pimple Popper, she has her own show.
Oh, and see, that's for drain. I cannot watch
I can't get into it either.
Oh, some people love that. And I'm like, I'll clean a drain all day long. I'm not popping no pimples. That's disgusting.
When my old coworker said that she liked watching like the horses get shot, I'm like, are you the only person in the world? But no, these videos have like thousands of likes and followers on it. So, yeah, people like weird stuff.
People do like weird stuff. Yeah. Look how many people listen to like murder mystery podcasts. Like, yeah. We're a bunch of weirdos.
Guilty of that, but okay, so a couple rapid fire questions at the end, and then I think that's it. So, okay, what is on your list of songs you love to listen to while cleaning?
Ooh, 90s hip hop. That's my genre. Yeah.
That's my husband's genre. Biggie?
Yeah. Biggie, of course, Biggie. What's my song? A Notorious Spark.
It might be a Wireton thing.
Yeah, it's got to be.
If you could have one cleaning superpower, what would you pick?
Cleaning superpower? That's a good question. I think like I would be able to like move fast.
Like be super fast.
Like get things done faster. Yeah.
I think I was thinking when I asked that question, you might be like toilets. Like as long as I could go like, and the toilet was done, then I can do everything else or something like that. But
I like cleaning toilets, so that's
yeah. If there was a cleaning Olympics, what cleaning task would you win a gold medal in? What are you the best at? What do people say? Oh, she's the best at that.
I think my toilet cleaning is pretty extraordinary. Yeah, I think I clean a good toilet. Yeah.
Part of the reason why we got a cleaning lady too was because I have 2 little boys that are potty trained now. And I'd be like, Jack, I mopped the floor. I've cleaned this toilet. Why does it still smell like pee? Yeah. So then
when little boys are potty trained, they're not actually. They don't get it in the potty.
Why don't they understand you have to lift the seat?
Actually, full-grown adult men still don't know how to do that. So I don't know what's missing from that. I'm not teaching my son how to pee standing up. He's going to miss it, and his future partner can thank me later.
Yeah, my youngest sits to pee too, and I
at first I was like, this is so weird. Why are you doing this? And then I was like, hey, it's so much cleaner that you do this.
Yeah, it works better.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous. He's gonna get like he's obviously doing it because he's a little too short. So he's just gonna get tall. And I'm like, no, just stay with
Yeah, just sit. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
My favorite question to ask, and it's not about cleaning, but if you were on death row, what would be your last meal?
Oh,
But I love this question. But I'm a food person, so
yeah. Pasta. I don't know what one though. Maybe something like really Italian, like like a carbonara or something like that. That's something really rich and fattening.
What's your favorite pasta noodle? Like that's a thing, right?
Yeah, I like penne. I also like. I don't know what they're called. They're like spaghetti, but then they've got like a hole in the middle. I don't know what they're called. They're really good.
They're long and skinny with a hole.
Yeah. Yeah, they look like a regular spaghetti noodle, a little bit thicker, but they've got a hole in the middle. I forget what they're called, but they're good. I like them.
But that would be great. All the sauce would be in there. That sounds delicious.
Yeah.
All right. Well, those are all my questions. Is there anything you wanted me to ask that I missed?
Oh, I know what I wanted to do. Okay. I wanted to, as a thank you for you being on this, having me on, and I wanted to thank the people in the Grey Goose community. So if anybody that leaves a review of our episode of the podcast, you can screenshot that, share it to your Instagram, and tag you and I in there. So Small Town Big Dreams podcast, and either Clean It Club podcast or just Clean It. And I will send you a copy of my new digital planner.
Oh, perfect. And I got it. So I love it. That was really cool. Okay, so I want to thank you for coming. I've learned a lot. We went on a lot longer because I just feel like I kept learning more and more and more. Where do we find you?
So find me over on Instagram. My handle is @TEbelCleans. TEbelCleans. You can also visit my website. The Clean It website is just cleanitclub.ca. And of course, my podcast, the Clean It Club podcast. So I like to keep it pretty simple.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, thank you.